Oh, yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This is the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, back and back it on up. Hey, back and back it on up. Hey, back and back it on up. Hey.
We're in there.
What's up?
We're in there. TA. We live. What's up, everybody? We got a lot to talk about. Tonight. As you know already, we're going to lead it off. Zach. Mr. Will Wade has parted ways. Has been fired. Has been let go. However you want to put it. From the LSU Tigers.
It's been fired.
So, yeah, he's been fired. He was fired. Let's get real. NOA was released, and Will Wade has been fired. And that's what we're going to lead off with. We want to discuss the details of this NOA, what busted him, and maybe looking forward, who can we get now? Because obviously we are right back into a coaching search.
Interesting on that, Reagan. Scott Woodward will now have to hire a new football coach, a new baseball coach, a new basketball coach, and a new women's basketball coach within the calendar year.
Yeah. Huge.
In one calendar year.
So glad that Mr. Woody, Scott Woodward, is here as our athletic director.
Yes,
because,
sir.
I mean, what a legend to have as your athletic director. And I have all the faith and the trust in Scott Woodward to do what's right. And this is a tough situation that we're going to have to work through. Zach, this stuff was released. He's been fired. Let me get your thoughts on what has transpired and what was in the NOA specifically.
Well, I do want to start off this by saying that I do appreciate Will Wade and what he did for the program. He obviously brought LSU to a tier where they had not been before, at least in many years. You know, he was the winningest coach in the SEC in the last 4 years. We, of course, finished, like top 5, I think, in the last however many years with him. He was bringing in 5-star recruits. Of course, we had the regular season championship. We also played in the SEC Tournament championship last season. So before we get into all the bad, I do want to say that, there were a lot of things that were positive with Will Wade. He was a young coach. He was very analytical. And so for all those things, we appreciate that. Now, here's the bad. We know that most college basketball programs, they pay players to come to their school. That's a known fact. Whether it's like blue blood like Kentucky or Duke or Kansas with Bill Self or whoever, you name it, North Carolina, all those different programs, we've heard all the rumors, we've heard all of the allegations and even the violations that have been announced with these top-tier schools that were paying players to come to their school or giving them some sort of something to come to their school. So it is not that he cheated. That's not why I'm mad. I am upset, and I am very frustrated at Will Wade for how he went about it. I think Will Wade had good intentions when he came to this program. He had intentions of building a championship program, building a program that could compete in the SEC and go to the NCAA tournament and make deep runs. That was his intentions, right? And for that, that was a good intention by Will Wade to want to succeed and obtain those things. The problem is how he went about it, right? And it's not even so much so the paying players, because with that, I'm fine. It's how he tried to cover it up and not get caught, right? I mean, good grief, get a middleman, right? After we read the NOA and everything that was in the NOA, Will Wade uses his own personal bank account that is a joint bank account with his wife to pay players.
Yikes.
And then after everything's found out, he then has to give Bill Armstrong, a little promotion, give him a little bit more, maybe a little bit more pay, little salary bump, so that Bill Armstrong will keep his mouth shut. He also has to go and pay ex-players' fiance. We know who the player is. We won't say it. Everybody knows who the player is. We won't say it. But he has to go and he has to pay this ex-player's fiance, and he pays her, and then they have text messages on his personal phone that the deal was not done. She thought that she was going to get more, and apparently there was a car that was involved, all these different things. And Will was like, well, I thought we were good. Like, well, what's the problem? Just complete stupidity. And I don't know whether Reagan, I've heard both of these things. I don't know whether it's just arrogance because he thought, I'm good. Like, Louisiana's got my back. LSU's got my back. Like, it doesn't matter what happens. Like, I'm good. I don't know whether it's arrogance or whether it's just complete stupidity.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly, because you got to be dumb to try and cheat in this day and age in college basketball. Bobby, Zach's getting zesty. Bobby's our IT guy in the background, if you don't know. So yeah, you got to be a complete moron to not try and find a middleman, or at least 2-3 middlemen to have these dealings with these players. And what's sad is it's really dumb even now because you have NIL, and you could. I mean, if you wanted to, you could use school funding, school money to give to these businesses and say, hey, your business is going to get promotion. Use this money to pay these athletes so they will come to my school, right? Even if you wanted to go about it that way. And yes, that's wrong, but I mean, they were already cheating back in the day. I'm sure there's more cheating going on now. And so, yeah, it was just really mind-blowing to me how dumb and arrogant Will Wade went about trying to cover this up. And then he just straight up lied to FBI officials and to LSU administration, LSU officials. And that is exactly why you got fired. You did not get fired because you were paying players. You got fired because you tried to cover it up, you tried to shut it up, and you lied to the people that were backing you, and you lied to the people that were investigating you.
Yeah, you completely botched and mishandled. I mean, how dumb do you have to be to use your joint account with your wife, bro? What are you doing? That's so easy, bro.
Again, I don't know if it's arrogance or just complete.
Do you not think that's the first account they're going to look at? I mean, come on, man. Holy cow. Look, this just proves that there is no man, there's no person, no one person that is bigger than LSU. And Will Wade is not bigger than LSU. And he really gave Scott Woodward and William Tate no choice but to make this move. It needed to be done. And there's really nothing else need to be said. I mean, there's people out on Twitter. Look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't like Will Wade because I liked Will Wade. I liked his energy. I mean, I don't know if you'll find another more tenacious guy than Will Wade. And it seemed as if he loved this program, he loved this school, he loved his players, all of that. But at the same time, I'm right there with him. And I love Will Wade, but people who are defending Will Wade as if we should have fought for him, as if Scott and Tate should have held out and tried to do whatever. Dude, the evidence is overwhelming. There was no other option. The school needed to make a move. And Scott and Tate kind of laid that out in their statement that they made. That this just became very taxing, and it's been a lengthy process, and it's going to continue to be a lengthy process. And this is becoming too much of a burden for our student athletes, man. I mean, and you can't sit there and act like all of this will brush over. All of this will be good. We're good. And it felt like in that press conference, he was like, I'm just ready for it all to be over with. I'm like, it felt like, man, he felt like he was good, and he's not. So I don't know what was going through his head, but it just wasn't very smart what he did. He got busted, and man, you cannot deceive and push back. I mean, the dude, when you go to pushing and shoving on the NCAA, they're going to bust you, man. They are going to bust you, especially when you start impeding on the investigation, misleading the investigation, especially FBI officials and all of this stuff. You can't be doing that, man. I mean, there's seven level 1 violations to the basketball program, and I'm just about all of them are tied to Wade.
Yeah.
Only one of them there's 8 in the total NOA release. One of them being football, 7 being basketball. I mean, overwhelming.
Eight level 1. 8 level 1. There's some lower levels, but 8 level 1.
I think there's like a level 3 with Ordron and recruiting and whatnot. That's not too major in all honesty, but just, dude, I after reading the what was released, there was absolutely no reason for Scott Woodward and William Tate to continue and try to fight this, right? And there is going to be now major sanctions placed on the basketball program. We'll see how it turns out with football, and I will kind of hit on that here in a minute. But, dude, there's going to be I truly believe there's going to be at least 2 postseason bans, 2 years.
Yep.
At least.
I have to agree.
I would be thrilled if it got knocked down to 1, but I just don't see that fit. Now, whatever Scott Woodward may do between now and then, these hearings still have had to be had. There's got to be responses. Yeah. And Scott Woodward said he's not really – this is not an acceptance of what was laid out in the NOAs. Rather, this is an action they needed to take for the schools, for the sake of the school is what I'm trying to say. This was not them accepting what was presented, because they can go to this hearing and have some stuff, reevaluated and push back on some of these things, and maybe the sanctions are lessened. But there is enough there to hang our program for a 2 to 3 years, and that's just the sad reality of it. You've got 7 level 1 violations, and you're going to take a hit on the basketball program.
Yeah.
And there had to be a move made.
Well,
now,
I love what Cody mentioned. Cody says if Ordron isn't immune to being fired, then Wade definitely isn't immune to being fired.
Doubt.
That is one of the points that I made on Spaces the other night. If you are going to hate on and belittle or just dislike Ordron
Yep.
because of everything that happened and the bad PR and just all of that, and be excited and happy that he is gone because and he is facing repercussions of the things that he
Yep.
did, then you have to be the same exact way with Will Wade. You have
Yeah,
to
no
be.
doubt.
Did we like Ed Orgeron? Yes. Did we like what he brought to LSU? You know, he was a great culture fit. I know there's a lot. We talk a lot about culture fit. We have before. You know, he was probably the best culture fit there was for LSU.
Probably
Of
ever
course,
will
he
be.
brought a national championship. You know, he was just a ball of energy, excitement. You know, players loved that. He was a players coach. But he had
Zach's cutting out, y'all. So y'all bear with us as we handle that. But there's no doubt. I mean, like we talked about, Ed Orgeron was the poster child for for culture fit and backing. You know, with people from Louisiana who loved him for being this, you know, perfect culture fit. You know, if you booted Ed Orgeron for those things, you definitely boot Will Wade. You have to have, you know, fairness in throughout the athletic program. But look, I think this is also something Scott Woolward needed to do to maybe help these sanctions in some way, because they're coming. I mean, we're going to get hit with something, and I think it's going to be a pretty massive hit to the basketball program. And this may be an attempt, like, hey, NCAA, we're trying to clean this up. We're trying to make good on this. We've been cleaning up our athletic program. From what? Good grief, Joe Oliva left it in. You've got to clean it up, and this could be his, you know, showing of, hey, we're trying to clean this up, and we're trying to take care of business, and we're not going to know what goes on in those hearings and whatnot specifically. Some people might. I know probably we won't, but we'll hear what those results are, and we'll see how much Scott Woolward and William Tate and LSU can retain in making that effort to make it right with the NCAA, so to speak. What I hate so much about these situations, I hate it, that I understand that Will Wade is probably going to hit with a show cause. I mean, he's probably going to get hit with that.
yeah.
But you're going to have, if you get hit with a 2-year postseason ban, you're going to have players and coaches who were never involved paying the price for this. And that really stinks. Even and the as the athletic director and the president of the school, none of these people were involved in this. Everybody involved has been stripped of the program, and guys who are going to suffer the consequences are people who are not involved. I just wish there was another way, and I'm not going to make a suggestion because I really don't know what the suggestion would be, honestly. But it just these are innocent guys who are going to pay this penalty, and that's what I hate the most about this whole situation.
Yeah, well, the Cody says on that topic, the CCU though said when it comes to these situations, they try to hand out sanctions and stuff that punishes the school, but not the players. So maybe it'll be just enough to where it'll hurt just a bit.
I mean, you hope so. You
Yeah. I
absolutely
mean,
hope so.
you hope so. As you mentioned earlier, you know, hopefully it's like something like a 2-year, 3-year at the most. Again, that's just something that we have to wait and see. But let's get to some of these comments, Reagan, and
Yeah,
then
man.
we'll transition into some of the potential new coaches that we could be talking about,
Yeah.
candidates. Mo Hippa, he said, "What do y'all think of the football repercussions?" Which he mentioned that earlier. I personally don't think, and I've been saying this. I've been saying this, Reagan. Me and you argued it one of the nights before. I think it was the day you sent the article of the notice of allegations. I don't think there's really anything major that is going to happen to football. I just don't. They self-imposed a bowl ban. They self-imposed limiting the scholarships, taking away scholarships, and they went through all of that, and then you bring in Brian Kelly. I don't think that Scott Woodward would ask all the boosters to spend all of that money and say, hey, let's bring in Brian Kelly. And why would you hype up bringing in Brian Kelly and hype up this new football program under Brian Kelly that you are about to begin? And then you're about to get slapped with something like a bowl ban, a year or two bowl ban. I just don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. Now, the NCAA, they can do what they want. They're their own governing body. And so, they could say, well, we felt like there was lack of institutional control. And so I hope that isn't the case. And then they, because of that, they really lay the hammer down on football. But from what it seems and from what we're hearing around LSU, it doesn't seem like anything major is going to happen. Maybe, they take away some scholarships again for a short period of time, or something minor like that. But even like a one season bowl ban, I feel would be like a big thing. I just don't think like anything like that's going to happen to football.
Right. And my whole point in arguing that was you don't sell yourself short if stuff's coming. But it sounds like Scott Woodward has probably worked some magic with the NCAA. I guess magic maybe for a lack of better words. Some rapport is probably a better word with the NCAA. Seeing they noted in the NOA, which is a big thing that football gave a quick response and that it was swift and they self-imposed, and that's going to help. And I think with the firing of Will Wade and whatever's going to go on in these hearings, I really think the football is not going to take a major hit. I got to agree with you on that. And it says scholarship reductions and fines is what NC State received. Man, if we could get off with scholarship reductions and fines, that would be awesome. And their coaches got show cause penalties, though. That would be ideal, right? Like, punish the coach who did this. I still think Woodward can sell the program and sell it to candidates and use this atmosphere and attendance this past season to have a coach buy in and willingly face the music. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, LSU is a brand itself, right? That's what we say. No one person's bigger than the brand of LSU. Somebody can buy into this program and ride out whatever may come sanction wise, and build a program later on. And this is what I want to get here. The Golden Boot Pod. Y'all go check out them and go follow them. They just released their first podcast episode recently. We appreciate y'all coming on and listening, fellas.
Big supporters of us, so we'll be big supporters
absolutely.
of them. That's Daniel and Ant and Chris and Pooh Bear. Which, by the way, Pooh Bear, we should be
here Friday, Friends Friday. So, fellas, who are your choices for your new coach? And this is a good question because, in all honesty, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I really don't. I can list some coaches, and I'm going to, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is the one guy I want. I am absolutely sold on this guy, right? Like, I mean, if we're talking like just to compare, when it comes to the football thing, like if you hire Dabo Swinney, I am 100% sold on this, or these are my absolute choices. We could give that for the football program. When it comes to this, man, I'm not real sure, especially in the situation where you're staring sanctions down, down the barrel, right around the corner, they're going to come. So that's going to affect your coaching process. But I still trust Scott Woodward to make a great hire. I do. We tweeted out earlier, because me and Zach have been spitting out names. We've been, like this guy, what about this guy, whatever. And on our way back from Baton Rouge, which we had a great weekend in Baton Rouge, a little business trip down to BR. It was a blast. We had a lot of fun.
Got to eat at Modesto's and hang out with the Balcony Bengals and
absolutely
check out.
It was a blast.
Yeah, it was a blast.
But look, when it comes to these choices, I'm not exactly sure where this will go. But like I was saying, on our way back from BR, we were talking about potential guys, and one of the guys we mentioned was Mac McMahon or Mayan, something like that.
Mayhan.
I don't know how you exactly pronounce his last name. It's McMahon, McMahon, however it pronounces. He's the head coach at Murray State, and I'm not saying that Scott Woodward is going to hire a mid-major program coach. He might need to in this situation. I'm not going to put a box around Scott Woodward because of these sanctions, because we've seen Scott Woodward do some incredible things. But, dude, Matt McMahon is sitting at Murray State 30-2, and that man is making $500,000 a year. He is only making $500,000 a year, and he
$2
has
million
made
less
tournament runs.
than Mulkey.
He made tournament runs
$2
with John Moran.
million.
Yes, I mean, we're paying Kim Mulkey two, and like progressively we'll get to 2.5, and this man's making only $500K. I mean, this is a guy who would leave Murray State if you paid him $3 million a year and come right out wherever these sanctions were and
With
be
the
a
sanctions.
solid coach.
Yep.
And they're nationally ranked in almost two. I don't care who played this year. You only lost 2 games. That's awesome. I mean, that is a good record. Tony Bennett is another name we've thought of because, speaking of the devil, Aunt Marshall, what are your thoughts on Tony Bennett? Look, Virginia has had a great program under Tony Bennett and has been a number 1 seed and won a national championship. I mean, they've been incredible. But this year, Virginia has kind of taken a step back, and maybe, just maybe, Tony Bennett would make a move if offered the right amount of money. And that would be a slam dunk home run hire if you could get a national champion coach under these sanctions or whatever it may be. Good. I mean, that's a good name to point out there, Ant. But some other guys, like if we do want to put a box around it, right, Zach? If we're going to put a box around it and say who would be a great coach who you could pull in and would do well and stay through the sanctions, not just people are like, oh, let's get a coach to get us through the sanctions and then we'll move on. No, like I don't want to do that. Like get a guy who's going to come in and buy in. Like,
if you got to sign a
settle
10-year
for less.
contract, a 6-year contract.
Yes, like get somebody who's going to come in and buy in and build a program. Matt McMahon is one of those guys. He's making $500K, y'all. Porter Moser, who was at Loyola Chicago and had those crazy runs in the tournament, is now a coach at Oklahoma. That would be one of those guys. Greg McDermott over at Creighton has had Creighton playing really good basketball these last few years and has been a tournament team regularly. Matt Painter would be a home run hire, in my opinion. Matt Painter is at Purdue and has had them ranked and had them at once this year at number 1 in the country. He's at Purdue. And I feel like Ellis, I mean, I may be a little bit biased here. I know it's a little bit different in basketball when it comes to, kind of the hierarchy of the sport. But Purdue and LSU, I mean, LSU's a bigger brand than Purdue. You maybe could pull in a guy like Matt Painter. That would be huge. And another one kind of like Matt McMahon or McMahon is Nico Medved over at Colorado State, who has had them ranked and has had them playing great ball, who was in the tournament and playing great. Man, those two guys right there, they just extended Medved at Colorado State, but Colorado State, LSU, SEC, Group of 5. You know what I mean? Like those are type of coaches that you could probably get to come and buy in and ride these sanctions out and make a good impact on this program. And they have on the programs that they are at right now. But I mean, man, when you see 30-2, that just like screams off the stat chart for me. Like that is a number that pops off the page at me. Just to throw another one out there, Zach, and then I'll let you get your suggestions. Mark Pope over at BYU has been playing great, had them playing great basketball. You know, and all of these places that I've named, I mean, these are places that LSU can recruit better than, in my opinion. You can recruit with the name and the brand of LSU better than some of the ones I just named. And one of the things, the last one, I know I said one more, but one more that I thought of that I feel like would be interesting and may play a role in keeping one of your players is Illinois' coach, Brad Underwood.
Yeah.
Brad Underwood had them at a 1 seed last year and made a great run in the tournament. You have Adam Miller now, and there's going to be a lot of question marks about who is going to stay. I feel like if you get Brad Underwood, you get a good chance at keeping Adam Miller. What's up, Leighton? That's our cousin, Leighton Sheremy. What's up, man?
Cousin-in-law, or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, he's our cousin. He's our cousin.
My cousin.
Right.
Was that
All right,
some
Zach.
Mardi
Well, I mean,
Gras? Did I see him dressed in Mardi Gras?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Brianna's
awesome. got him changed his
state
sides. He'll be
boy.
wearing purple and gold. He'll be wearing purple and gold before we know it. I mean, he has been.
It's crazy what a female can make you do. It's crazy.
That's right. That's right. Zach, you got any names you want to throw out there? Those are just some of the names.
Well, shoot, Reagan, I don't know if I can throw out anymore. You threw out a bunch of them there. But you know, I like a lot of those guys. You know, somebody that we've also mentioned is Scott Drew. Scott Drew over at Baylor. He's got, of course, Baylor won the national championship last year. They're a #1 seed this year. Dang it, Blake. I was in my train of thought. Gosh. But
Tebow cut for real though. Is the Tebow cut.
Had to go to man cave and get my hair chopped. But the problem with Scott Drew though, Reagan, is you know, there's been talks that him and Mulkey didn't have a great relationship, but really? There is an assistant at Baylor, Jerome Tang. You know, how is the relationship with him and Mulkey? I would assume there wasn't too much of a relationship there with him being an assistant. But you know, Jerome Tang is another option potentially. You've got guys like Wes Miller over at Cincinnati. You know, there's some big fish that you could pull. You know, you mentioned Underwood. You mentioned what's some other big ones you mentioned? You mentioned
McDermott and then
McDermott. I mean,
Matt
all
Painter.
those guys. I still think McMahon is probably kind of considered between a rebuild through the sanctions and you know, like a big fish. You know, I think he's one of those guys. You know, you're gonna see Kevin Nickelberry as well. I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear that, but you're gonna see Kevin Nickelberry lead this team during this NCAA tournament run. You know, how does he perform in this NCAA tournament? Does he potentially get his name in the pool for potential candidates to come to LSU? You know, especially if they decide to do something like, hey, let's get somebody to get us through these sanctions, and then we'll go and find somebody. I agree with you, Reagan. I don't know necessarily that that's what they're going to do, but you know, some small level guys like Nickelberry, you know, maybe that's a potential there. Andy Kennedy, I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear that one as well. You know, I'm going through the list I wrote down here. He's over at UAB right now. He's been in the SEC. You know, he's coached against
coach. Yeah. Yeah, I think we may have lost Zach. I mean, he was mentioning Andy Kennedy, and I mean, Andy Kennedy did okay at Ole Miss, and he had good times, especially with Marshall Henderson. But he's a respected coach. I don't know. Again, we're not fully aware of the direction this is going to go, but we know that Woodward likes to swing for the fences, and so we'll see what comes of this. But first, we need to find out what is going to happen when it comes to sanctions, man. Honestly. Cab driver. Oh, goodness. All right, let's move forward here. We're still talking about basketball. We'll move to our next point now. I knew we would go a little long on that first point discussing NOA stuff when it comes to basketball, when it comes to football, coaching search, what's not. But look, the guys are still playing. They have made it. Basketball received the 6th seed in the Midwest region of the NCAA tournament and will take on number 11 seed Iowa State. Zach, give me your thoughts on what we drew, how you felt about what we drew, and what can these guys do? How will they play? Will the morale be there?
Yeah, I think the morale is going to be there. I do. I think, especially with a lot of veteran leadership, you've got guys like Darius Days, you've got X, Moani and Tari. I know they're still kind of younger guys, but they're a little bit older than some of these other guys like Brandon, like Efton. A lot of these guys, and there's a lot of question marks. Let's not get that twisted. There is a lot of question marks surrounding these players that are currently at LSU, if they're going to stay at LSU. We already have seen one recruit drop out, today. And so there's going to be a turnover regarding players. But I think the guys are going to get up for it, and I think, Kevin Nickelberry, he made a couple statements the other day, we're going to play for the 3 letters on our chest. We're going to play for the brand of LSU. And I think, that's going to be the push. I think that's going to be, the chant in the locker room as these guys head to the NCAA tournament. And I trust LSU to get it done, because even though Will Wade is gone, the players are still there, and their skill levels and their talent is all still there. Tari Eason, even though Will Wade's gone, Tari Eason is still, potential lottery pick. I mean, he's still a great player.
Oh, yeah.
Darius Days can still stroke it from the 3-point range. I mean, all these guys, they still have their talents. It's not like all that was stripped from them. So these guys, they're still going to want to come out and play hard for themselves, especially for those guys like Darius Days, like X, like Tari, who are going to be moving on and going to the NBA. They're going to want to play hard for themselves. And of course, Kevin's going to push playing hard for the name on their back and the name on their chest. And so I expect there to be morale. Now, in regards to who we're playing, we're going to play in Iowa State. I think that's a favorable matchup for LSU. I realize Iowa State is a great team. They're a really, really good team, but they're sketchy at points when it comes to their offense. And I believe, LSU, with how well they play defensively, that can be a big problem for Iowa State. And if LSU is clicking on all cylinders offensively, I fully expect LSU to win that game. I do. I don't think this team is, to be realistic, and I hate to be that way. I got to not be a fan here for a moment, because, the fan of me wants to say, well, man, they're going to go all the way to Sweet 16. They're going to use this motivation to, carry them a long way. I don't think this team makes it past the second round. I think they're potentially probably going to lose in the second round. Here's the thing, though, Reagan. Here's a little twist. If Colgate upsets Wisconsin and LSU beats Iowa State, I also like that matchup as well. I think LSU could beat a team like Colgate and make it to the Sweet 16. Is that a stretch? Yes, I believe it is. But I follow a lot of these, sites, and they do their predictators and all that kind of things. And, they run all the games through their algorithm or whatever, like 10,000 times. Sportsline is the one I'm talking about. And they actually have Colgate upsetting Wisconsin in the first round, LSU beating Iowa State in the first round, and then LSU beating Colgate in the second round to advance to the Sweet 16. Is that a potential? Yes, it is. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but I'm excited to see how these guys play. I think, as we've talked, I think that is the biggest factor. How is this team going to play with everything that is surrounding them and with Will Wade gone?
Yeah, and I like, with I mean, obviously, if Bill Armstrong would have been fired, he probably would have taken over. But he got fired, so Kevin Nickelberry is your guy. And I like the leadership that Darius Days is going to provide. He's dealt with this before. He was on the team when they were suspended, when Will Wade was suspended for that period of time in the tournament, in the SEC tournament, and so he's dealt with this. So Nickelberry really leaned on Darius to push the message, man. I really think they're going to rally together and play well. I got to agree with you. I think this is a second round exit team. I do think that there's a major potential for a first round exit. Like, let's not write that. Like, let's not get in our minds that we're beating Iowa State.
For
They
sure.
showed flashes in the season. They played Kansas close at some points in the season. They played Texas Tech close some points in the season and Baylor close in the season. They lost to Kansas by 1 point, 62-61. But late in the season, they lost to Oklahoma State 53-36. And their last game in the Big 12 tournament in the quarterfinals, they lost 72-41 to Texas State. So you're absolutely right. Their offense is sketch at times, and I'm really curious to see as to how they're going to play when we see that aggressive defense, that defense that just seems so swarming. Like, is the motivation going to be there for them to do that? Is the motivation going to be there for them to really be just pest on defense like they can be at times?
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how they
travel.
rally together and how they, try to do that. I mean, it will be played and the Tigers are in. I like LSU against Iowa State. If LSU plays Wisconsin, I think we lose. I mean, I'm not going to say there's a chance we don't. It's March Madness. Crazier things have happened than a 6 seed beating a 3, right? So it would be crazy in the fact that our coach just got fired and they just beat a 3 seed. Yes, that would be crazy. But crazier things have happened, like UMBC knocking off Virginia 16-1. So, it's March Madness. Buckle up, man. It's exciting. All this crap has happened, but you still get to play in March Madness. You still get to go to the big dance, right?
Friday.
So enjoy it, and we'll watch these last few games of the season. Pull for the Tigers, man, and man, you really hope for these guys who have been stars this season. Tari Eason, Xavier Pinson, namely Darius Days. Man, you hate that. I really hate that here at the cusp of Darius Days' career. Oh, and what a great career Darius Days has had at LSU.
Yeah.
He will forever be a Tiger and was loyal to LSU. And we're so grateful that he came back this year and to contribute to this team. I hate that this is the way that his career is ending at LSU. I just absolutely hate it. So I hope to see him go out there and play with heart and passion and finish out as a Tiger strong. Xavier Pinson, who's been a great point guard this season and has been a leader on the team, those guys who are going to move on, you got to pull for those guys, and just
100%.
support them fully through this, because this is tough for them. There's no doubt this is tough for them. But we'll see. I mean, cheer for the Tigers all the way through, and we'll see how everything else is handled after the tournament. But for now, let's focus on these games and let's rally behind these guys and support them 100%. All right, let's take a quick break between segments here, and let's hit a few things that we always need to, our sponsors. First of all, make sure you go follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue. All of our social media, we post on there regularly. We post about our shows when we're going live, and we'll keep you updated on all things at Tigers Avenue. Also, our YouTube channel at Tigers Avenue. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube right now, click off and hit the subscribe button and come back and watch the show. We stream on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube all simultaneously. So wherever you want to watch it on those 3 platforms, you can do so. If you can't, we post the episodes on all podcast platforms, so you can go back and watch those as well. 5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU Go and check out all his music on all the major platforms, including They Ain't Ready for That LSU. Go follow him at Saints Anthem on Instagram and at One Nation Doty on Twitter. Also go check out his Facebook for his merchandise that he has on there, Saints and LSU stuff. 5-star hero. Also, Aunt Sarah, our wonderful Aunt Sarah, Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. We appreciate her support of the Tigers Avenue show. She likes to specifically hit on the needs of the elderly in their community to ensure that their wishes are carried out and that their dignity is maintained. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
Guys, we want to encourage you to go and check out our website at tigersavenue.podbean.com. You can find the playlist to our YouTube as well as all of our latest episodes on the front page. If you go to the pages link, you can find 5-Star Heroes merch and all of his beats that are available on Apple Music and Spotify. If you go to our sponsors, you can see all of the sponsors that support Tigers Avenue and check out all of their info. If you check out the Tiger Times page, you can go and see all of our games that we've attended at Alex Box Stadium, Tiger Stadium, and the PMAC through the years. And if you click on the support page, you can go and find the QR codes for our Cash App and our PayPal to support Tigers Avenue. Again, all of this you can find at tigersavenue.podbean.com.
All right, let's get into our last segment. Let's hit this comment real quick. Danny Girl, are you serious sports? It is a mix between Tebow and a boy band. Well, Reagan has his bucket brilliance on tonight. You know, always got to have it on. That is when he means business on here. Always got it on, so I always mean business, Danny. Zach, did we lose him? Did we lose that? We may have lost Zach. Well, we'll move on here from our basketball to the Diamond. Great week in baseball, for the Tigers. Namely, this weekend they swept Bethune, however you want to say it, Cookman. The first game was kind of slow. The second game was a little bit better, and boy, they knocked it out of the park on Sunday with a 15-0 win over Bethune-Cookman to complete the sweep. They also took care of their midweek game, and so they were 4-0 on the week. This week, you have a big week. You're going to be playing Tulane, who is a ranked team, at Alex Box, big game, and then you start SEC play in Alex Box against the Texas A&M Aggies. Zach, I know you got some stats from this weekend. Really liked what we saw this weekend from the pitching staff, namely.
Yep.
Tell me what you got.
Well, mainly the strikeouts. On Saturday, we got to see Ty Floyd, and Ty Floyd had a great game. He threw for 8 strikeouts, and then Roselman came in and he threw 7 strikeouts. So 15 total strikeouts on Saturday for the 2 pitchers. You preserved some arms for the Sunday game, and then in the Sunday game, it was just a complete rout. 15-0. The bats were on fire. They were hitting. Did we potentially find a really good lineup with putting Gio?
I love DeGiacomo.
Yeah, putting Gio out and right. I mean that team and that game and the lineup and the pitching. Mikhail had a great game. I've been screaming it from the rooftops. Put Mikhail in the Sunday role and leave him in the Sunday role. He excelled. He excelled. I believe he had 6 strikeouts. He might have had 7. If I can't remember exactly, but I know he was up there. Had a really great game. Pitched well. Didn't surrender any runs at all. And the batting came alive and was just really exceptional. Jacob Berry was awarded the National Player of the Week by College Baseball, and so that was also very impressive. He had a couple of home runs, I believe, and Dylan had a home run. Cade had some home runs. Hayden Travinsky came in After McManus struggled a lot this weekend, and Hayden Travinsky had a really good bat. Jack Merrifield came in and had some really good at bats. Drew Bianco had some really good at bats. Just nothing but positive. I realize this is Bethune-Cookman. Obviously, there was a struggle on Friday. We've already discussed that game on our show that we had Friday with the Balcony Bengals, so we won't discuss that too much. But you were able to come back and you're able to fight in that game, and that's very impressive to see from this team. And then you just completely dominated in games 2 and 3. So overall, a great weekend. Luckily, this is pretty cool. So we took our business trip to Baton Rouge this past weekend. I got to go and watch the Friday game against Bethune-Cookman, which was really cool. Get to see 3 homers. 2 of them were hit to where we were sitting, which was really cool. Drew hit one to us. Cade hit one to us. Bobby went and stole the where's Bobby at? Bring Bobby. Bobby went and stole a baseball from a kid. The kid was like, "Hey, can I have the baseball?" And Bobby just ignored him. What?
Hey, yeah, if you want to go see that video of Bobby stealing the ball
on LSU baseball,
go look at LSU Baseball's Instagram, and you can see Bobby going to get the ball before the kid did.
It's so, and Bobby then handed it to another kid. It was great. What was funny though is then Dylan Cruz hit a homer, and that kid went to go get the ball. It bounced. That same kid that Bobby just neglected and did not give him the baseball. The ball bounced off the bleachers and went back into the outfield. The kid was running over there from like 8 rows down, trying to get the ball. It bounced on left. Now, luckily, the outfitter from BCU threw it back up to the kid, and the kid's like running. He's like, "I got one! I got one!" It was really great.
Now, don't drag me completely through the mud, because if you watch the video through, I did give one of the kids the ball. Okay, the other kid ran from halfway across the stadium. I can't help that. Okay.
And he turns around and gives it to the kid that was sitting in front of the ball and didn't even move to get the ball.
Now, I don't always run like an old man. But the bleachers were wet and I didn't want to fall. So don't laugh at me.
So that was a fun trip. But I get to actually go to tomorrow night's game against Tulane, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so mom and dad were going with mom Mom and dad were going with Sierra and Simon, our younger siblings, to go down there, watch a game, and celebrate our Paul, my dad's birthday. And he was like, "Hey, I've got an extra ticket." Well, actually, mom was like, "Hey, I got an extra ticket." And I was like, I'm going. Yeah. So, because that's going to be a great game, a game we could lose because Tulane has been playing very well. They're ranked. They're going to, of course, they won the weekend series against State. So but maybe because we're going to win, because every single LSU game that we have went to, no matter if it was basketball, baseball, football, lacrosse, beach volleyball, I'm just kidding, we haven't been to any of those, but any of them that we've been to, LSU has won every time. LSU has won every time, just about. And so I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, the LSU Tigers can defeat the Tulane Green Wave on tomorrow night on Tuesday. But yeah, overall great weekend for the
yeah, man. Look, Mikhail had 6 strikeouts, by the way. I know you didn't know that, but one thing we do have to mention about this weekend that for baseball that did stink, and we'll have to keep an eye on it, is Blake Money was pulled out of the game. On Friday, and now it looks like his hand or his wrist or whatever, according to Jay Johnson, had some strain. And apparently it's not too serious. It's going to be day to day. Nothing too serious. Fingers crossed he'll be back very soon. Danny Girl, baseball was great this weekend, but I think I need to start my own podcast and cover women's basketball, gymnastics, and those softball ladies. Hey, shout out to the softball girls knocking off the number 2 team in the country, the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's always a great day when LSU beats Alabama, regardless of which sport it is, especially when they're ranked number 2 in the country and they win the series 2 out of 3. Okay, AD hat game official tonight already. You know, keep it strapped, boy. I keep it on.
I know.
Look, so hopefully Blake Money will be back and good. Bobby, how many errors did we commit this weekend? Only 3 on the whole series.
Very impressive.
1 each day. Much better, but we want no errors, right? We want none. I know that's not feasible, but it is what it is. Now, yes, I mean, I want to talk specifically about that Sunday lineup. I think you need to keep Gio in right. If you're not going to try Joe Bear out there and right, keep Gio in right. His defense is great. He's fast as lightning, and he has proved that he can swing the bat. He swung the bat great on Sunday, and I mean, he even hit one out of the park. The Italian stallion himself, Gio DiGiacomo, and I really loved what I saw out of that lineup. And Barry seems to kind of have found himself over at third base a little bit. And man, his bat indeed was rocking this weekend. He batted for 500 this weekend, 9 of 18, 3 home runs, a double, 7 RBIs, and 7 runs scored. Avenue crew rocking tonight. We love it, AD. Appreciate you coming on and continuing supporting us. I want to look at
my hat. Do y'all like mine? I mean, I know Reagan gets credit for like bucket hat, but I mean, you know, I got the typical like country boy hat right here, boys.
Look here. Look here.
My trucker hat with my American flag on
check
it.
this out. I got something for y'all.
Oh.
Yeah. We got the 2 colors, baby. Oh, yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir. Yes, but I loved what I saw out of this weekend from specifically Sunday from Gio. I got to get this one straight a little bit there.
No advisors. We are still not prepared for spring football. Don't worry, Cody.
We'll take care of that here in a little bit. But Gio was 3 for 4 on Sunday. 3 for 4 with a home run and a double. He had a great game on Sunday, and I want to see that continue because you really don't even have to worry about the defense when Gio's out and right. TA Advisors thoughts? Some merchandise, do you suppose?
Which is coming very soon. AD has been wanting some merch.
Yeah. Why are you trying to steal Reagan Thunder? You already considered the fact that let LeBron shots. Hey man, you know.
All right, I got rid of it.
There you go. But look, the pitching was good this weekend. Hopefully Blake Money's fine. You can solidify a starting rotation with Ty and Hilliard and Money when he gets healthy. I want to see more of Gio in right field, and if that bat continues, absolutely leave him in the lineup. You love it. You got to love it when there's great defense and you compare it with great offense as well. I mean, if Gio's hitting 3 for 4, 2 for 4, and he's playing excellent defense out and right, by all means, leave him out there.
Yeah.
But we'll see this weekend. You start SEC play. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to these few more comments, and then we'll hit a few sponsors, and then we'll wrap the show up. Zac Efron, that is a magic hat. You seem much more comfortable in front of the camera with the
magic
hat. Covers your new boy band hair.
I gotta show my new do. I got the hard part with the fade. Leave it a little long on the top. Where are the visors? We will have visors. We will get y'all.
We're gonna get some visors. No doubt.
Just might have TA visors.
Just hold tight for a second. I want to show y'all something when it talks about merch. Only a few have this right now. A very select few have this right now, but I want to show y'all something we got. Check it out.
Select few.
Yes, sir. TA t-shirts with the Tigers Avenue on the back. There you go. TA. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it.
Shout out to A to Z Advertising.
Yes.
We appreciate them. Maybe a potential sponsor in the future. Maybe. We'll see. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. But hey, let's get to these sponsors. We appreciate y'all coming on tonight and interacting. Go follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue. We post on there regularly. We give you updates on when our shows are coming on, and we also just tweet and post about all things LSU as well. Don't forget also to go subscribe to our YouTube channel, also at Tigers Avenue. If you're watching on YouTube, click off right now, hit that subscribe button, and come right back. We stream live on Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube all at the same time. So go like, subscribe, follow, whatever you need to do on all those platforms at Tigers Avenue. 5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his music on all the major platforms. Also, go follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem, as well as Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to go check out his Facebook page for some Saints and LSU merchandise as well. 5-Star Hero. Big shout out to Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. We appreciate her continued sponsorship and support of the Tigers Avenue show. Her firm likes to focus on ensuring that the elderly have their needs met and their wishes carried out, and that their dignity is maintained. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
Guys, we want to encourage you to go and check out our website at tigersavenue.podbean.com. You can find the playlist to our YouTube as well as all of our latest episodes on the front page. If you go to the pages link, you can find 5-Star Heroes merch and all of his beats that are available on Apple Music and Spotify. If you go to our sponsors, you can see all of the sponsors that support Tigers Avenue and check out all of their info. If you check out the Tiger Times page, you can go and see all of our games that we've attended at Alex Box Stadium, Tiger Stadium, and the PMAC through the years. And if you click on the support page, you can go and find the QR codes for our Cash App and our PayPal to support Tigers Avenue. Again, all of this you can find at tigersavenue.podbean.com.
Yes, AD, let's hit a few more comments right here. We see a few things we want to hit on. When and where on the merch? Soon. We don't know exactly when. We got to do a few more pricing things. We got some things lined up here in the last few days. But we will let you know as soon as you can purchase some TA merchandise. We really appreciate y'all asking about that. Danny Girl, I'm all about some new merch. It's coming at you as soon as we can have it. We will make sure that you got it and that you know it's ready and available. We're looking forward to that. It's going to be exciting. We appreciate all of y'all's continued support and joining in tonight and interacting. We always love it. Go like, subscribe, whatever, follow on all of our social medias as you know to do. And we'll see you next time on Friday night in the next edition of Tigers Avenue. Appreciate you. 5-Star Hero, take us out. Peace.
Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star? And the LSU Tigers, LSU Tigers.